Computers are receive always superior at recognition various many faces, but on the 1 week's technology camping we ask if face acceptance technique is fair too big a risk to confidentiality. How is surely the type of the Civilian Civil Liberties Association, the ACLU. The 1 week the rights team forced Amazon to halt provided its recognition face acceptance technique to us police forces. Proverb a manual for the software program reads love a customer guide for authoritative observation. Amazon answered sturdily, proverb the quality assurance of lifetime would be lot worse if new technologies were locked since of how they might be utilized. But Matt Cagle, technique and civilian civil liberties attorney for the ACLU in California, says the technology company has unlocked thing very hazardous. The technique can be rotated versus protesters, it can be aimed at migrant, and it can be utilized to spy on whole neighborhoods. He says Amazon as necessary to be far more than translucent on its job in the region and down there as necessary to be a social discussion up the technique is developed. But police forces on both of sides of the Atlantic trust face acceptance is increasing quickly and can be a helpful instrument in areas such as protection main events or spot terrorism suspects on the go. Down there are places wherever the discussion is fair not event. China is putting big sums in face acceptance technique and deployment it in passion. Police force down there include utilized the technique to detention a quantity of suspects at pop concerts. The reason of the technique companies and law coercion agencies in the US and Europe is how they must at low experimental in the region or hazard ceding the land to China firms that will not person the identical blood pressure of civilian civil liberties groups. Reason thou, Amazon may not be the top-placed industry to win confidence for the technique. The news story how one of its echoing devices once controlled to recording a talk in a household and email it to who else will strengthen the concept how it is a slight too concerned in observer hour each go. We include 2 more than items in the 1 week's program, on which our agitated visitor Kate Bevan describes as GDPR date. She tells me she has been wait for the time for 6 years. We try to piercing several of the myths on Europe's new information protect regulatory, that has been welcome in thing related to scare by several US firms. And if Europe is guideline the planet in regulatory, can it as well make a few guideline technique companies? France's CEO Macron has been manufacturing big claims on his ambitions for his nationality to be a guideline gamer in synthetic intellect. We get an evaluation of a Paris-based enterprise capitalist of if France, and Europe as a entire, can competitive in the joint state and China.